Hello everyone, this is Hack the Gamer, and welcome back to another Home Arcade News and Reviews video. Today we're going to be doing a review on the Arcade1up Terminator 2 cab. And this one, we've been waiting for it for a while. It came the box wasn't that damaged. It was in a good condition. It actually looks pretty cool, but I know you didn't come here to just look at the box. So yeah, let's open this thing up. So here's a look at the contents of the box, and the monitor, the box that has the monitor in it, didn't have the fragile sign on it because they normally package them in the box with the monitor has the fragile sign on it. But here's what it looks like, and it has the monitor, the marquee I believe, and also the control deck. So it also has the screws in it. So here's a look at the control deck with the mounts on it and the gun wires, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So here's a closer look at the monitor and the screws and the wires, and here's a closer look at everything laid out on the floor. So you have the control deck there, the marquee and the speakers. You have the guns, then you have the riser back there. Then you have the side panels, which these ones, just like the Killer Instinct, have the little extensions to make them look taller. They have the front of it, but you have Arnold looking ready for action. But then there's a screen, and there's a certain way you want to take the sticker off of that. But yeah, so here's it with the extensions, and here's the other side with the extensions. But yeah, it just makes it taller, and you want to tighten one down before you do the other, just to where it's more sturdy. Here's another look at the panels and the brackets that hold the extensions together. Here's the back of the monitor, but here's a closer look at the PCB, and as you can see, it still has the Wi-Fi antenna like Killer Instinct for the leaderboard. And the marquee for this one is a little different because it has a light, and then it has the actual image to where you have to attach the light on, and then you slide the image on. So we'll show that later. So here's another look at the marquee, and here's the light I was talking about. So that actually makes the light, and then you slide the image onto it, or you slide the image in front of it, actually, not on it, but in front of it, to where it makes it dimmer, but it makes it's better quality. But yeah, there is it sliding on. But yeah, it takes more steps to make do it, but I think it's better. So here's another look at the PCB, and there's a certain way for the wiring for the control deck, because it's a USB for it. So here's it down here. Up there, there's the port and some more of the wiring. This is most likely for the send-in light guns for the force feedback and the rumble and the aiming and everything for it. So as you can see, we start to peel the plastic off of the deck protector, and you can see it's still cloudy, and that's because there's actually a protective plastic on both sides, so you have to take it off and peel it off on the other side. So here's a closer look at the design. And I like how they added all the little features or details on it, like the words and things like that. I really think that helps with the design of the cab. So that would be putting points towards it. And now it's time to turn it on. And as you can see, I'm 5'8", and it's pretty tall compared to me. And you can see a little NBA Jam down there. Very small compared to it. so it kind of towers over everything in the game room. So at first we were like, wow, this is really bad and lame, like seriously? But it turns out this is just for the calibration part, and in the actual gameplay, it's way better. So speaking about gameplay, let's get started. Also, when you turn it on, it's gonna prompt you to set up the internet and do an update. And at first we had some problems doing the update, but after we switched the Wi-Fi over, it was fine. So you want to do the update. Also, just a heads up, you want to leave the settings on the default settings because there's two leaderboards you can rank on. There's an arcade leaderboard and an any leaderboard, but that's just a heads up. We learned that the hard way. I'm gonna stop talking for a bit so you can hear how the gameplay sounds and the gun sound. And here you can tell that I absolutely did not know you could shoot your own teammates. So here's a look at how far back you can go with the guns, and I'd say around 2 to 3 feet is where you really want to be, but you can go really far back because that's not even the farthest you can go. But I don't know why you would want to play that far back, but you can if you want. So the guns are pretty light, they're like a pound or less, but I would prefer them to be heavier. But you can also turn on and off the feedback with that button right there. The black button on the bottom is like the grenade button, and then you have the trigger there. But they are pretty light, kind of feel like water guns, but then again, little or kids may want to play it. But the feedback or the rumble is pretty good. It keeps you engaged in the game, and when it's off, it's not as immersive as when it is on. So yeah. And when you want to leave the game, all you have to do is press the live button twice and it will take you back to the main menu. So now let's take a look at how I rated the cab. In design, I gave it an 8.5, durability a 9, features a 7.5, fun factor a 8.5, and replayability a 9. So for design, the reason I gave it an 8.5 was because it had no coin door. Don't get me wrong, I like the design. It's really close to the original design, but it didn't have a coin door, which took off some points. And the other reason was because of the wires. Let's just say, I'm just gonna say that the wires do take away. Maybe if they made it to where they were retractable or you could reel them back into the mount, it'd be better, and I've give it a higher rating. But we had to zip tie ours to make them look nicer. So, yeah, that takes away some points. So for durability, the actual cab, there's not really anything you have to do with it. You have the start button and things like that like the live button to quit and things. But there's really only one word that you need to say to explain everything, and that is the guns. The guns, they, as I said before, they kind of feel like water guns. They're pretty light, and there's no telling how long they're gonna last because they feel like toys. And the wires, because they're loose and dangle around, they also may be damaged. So that's another thing to think about. So yeah, it got a 9 because the overall cab, you don't really have to touch that much besides starting the game. But the because you have the guns, and they're so light, that does take away some points. So for features, I gave it a 7.5 because it has like the behind the scene footage. It has the light up marquee. It doesn't have the light up deck, the coin door, and what really hits it the hardest is the fact that it only has one game on it, and the lack of variety really hits this one hard. But it does have the online leaderboard, but still that the one game, especially because you're not able to go up against or play with people online, that also hits the features. For fun factor, I give it a 8.5, and it is a fun game, but the emulation for this Arcade1up game particularly, there's popping, and that can be kind of distracting when you turn it on or off, or when dialogue starts or stops, or even sometimes in between it. But it is distracting, and it does kind of take away from the experience. And I have zoned out when I was test playing it, and I don't know if it's because it's so interesting. I love it that much, or I just wasn't into it. But yeah, I don't know if it's ours, or if it's everyone's, or if it's even gonna be patched in an update. But yeah, that does take away from it. So for replayability, we gave it a 9 because there is replay value to it. You can play with friends. You can try to get a higher score on the leaderboard, get in first place, and because it may not have the setting where you can play online with other people, but you still can play on the leaderboard. But you can also try to not kill as many people, which I need to work on that. Or you can try to get different bonuses. So there is replay value to it and doing different things on it. So we didn't feel like it should get the top 10 points because it is one game and it isn't online to where you can't play with other people. So yeah, that did hit it, but I still think it has replay value, so it gets a 9. So the total score of the Terminator 2 cab is 8.5, and I do think it deserves this score. It does receive the Hack the Gamer stamp of approval. If it was below a 7, then it wouldn't. But even though it has its flaws, like the sound, the guns are kind of flimsy, but they work. But things like the sound, and the fact that we had to get speakers to make it louder, and all the speakers did was just amplified the clipping sound. So things like that hit or took points on it. But what mainly did was the lack of variety of games. So that definitely hit it, but not enough to where we'd pass. There also is the price, which really I would say it should be less, like $5.50 at the maximum. But the nostalgia for it was just greater than the price. So should you buy this cab or not? And it all boils down to two things: nostalgia, and if you don't already own a gun game, then you could buy it. I'm not gonna recommend buying it because you can always it does have some issues, and you can always wait till it goes on discount or the issues get patched. But for us, it hit both of those. It was nostalgic, and it completed our game rune because we didn't have a gun game in there yet. So it hit both of those. So that's why we got it. But if the alternative for it is to buy the full size version if you want to go that route. But yeah, I would recommend waiting, maybe seeing if it's gonna go down in price. But if it's nostalgic and you don't already have a gun game, then it may be something to consider buying. But let me know what you think in the comments. But that's all, and thanks for watching. Hello everyone, I'm on here and I do all the faraway shouts and explosions, and
I'm here to join you today for behind the scene footage. So, here's how everything runs. So I have the director tell me something and I'll do it.
Say the line.
Get to the chopper. Did I do something wrong?
No, the other line.
It's not the Tuma.
No, the other line.
Adrian.
Man, that's not even your movie. What are you?
Okay, cut.
Okay, we'll cut and we'll cut and we'll do it again and let's just take 5, okay?
I'll be back.
Man, what? That's the come out here.